You just looking for him. Oh, he's getting ready to ring the gong. All right, Jay, ready?
Welcome to our, oh, we're not there yet. Good morning. Welcome to our online worship service for the First Unitarian Society of Ithaca, a community that creates connection, finds inspiration, and engages the world, even amidst these uncertain times. I'm Sue Ronke, and I'm your celebration associate this morning. We're glad you carved out time to be together this morning, even in this new way. Not only is it Easter, but it's my birthday. And I have a treat for you. I'd imagine that we have some folks joining us who have not joined us before, perhaps in other congregations in our cluster or from the Ithaca community. Maybe you're joining us for the first time, or you could be visiting from afar as a friend of a member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, but we are certain we need one another. A few announcements before we begin.
Good morning. Thank you, Sue. I am Sharon Castellanos, co-chair of the Stewardship Committee at First Unitarian. I'd like to share another Spark Magic testimonial with you this morning. This week from an anonymous contributor. The first Sunday that I chose to return to FUSIT after more than 30 years away happened to be Easter 2016. I assumed the church would be full and I could sneak in and out of the sanctuary anonymously and unobtrusively. The church, however, was almost empty. Don and Rita Barber approached me and greeted me warmly before the service, and it made all the difference. In my recently divorced, lonely, and emotional state, it was just what I needed. I came back the next week and the next. 4 years later, I'm still here. A warm greeting does make all the difference. When we find ourselves lonely and emotional, as we are now, as many of us are now, community makes all the difference. Your support and involvement makes all the difference. FUSIT needs your pledge of support now more than ever, because we all need FUSIT more now than ever in our lives. We need that warm greeting that keeps us coming back week after week, year after year, even online. We need that warm greeting to this warm and loving community. On behalf of myself and my co-chair, David Solomon, and the entire stewardship team, I want to thank you. The stewardship team has been calling 142 households to thank them for making their pledge to our Spark the Magic fundraising campaign. Those pledges add up to $262,700,000. That's 70% of our goal. This generosity and warmth from our community is truly magic. Thank you. Your pledge is your promise. And if you haven't made your pledge yet, there's no need to make your payment immediately. You can pledge from a place of hope and generosity to yourself and to others as we weather this storm together. There are several ways to make your pledge: online, by text, by phone, or snail mail. Options are available on the FUSIT website, uuithaca.org. Simply click on the Spark Magic button to find your way. If you have questions about pledging or want some facts about what your pledge supports, more information can be found right on that same website, or you're welcome to reach out to myself, Sharon Kastianis, or my co-chair, David Solomon, and ask whatever you need to ask. And thank you so much for the magic that you all bring to our FUSIT community.
Please be sure to check your email, our Facebook page, and our website for more information on how to create connections amidst this experience of physical distancing we are having. For instance, we have Zoom meetings set up for many of our small groups, minister groups, and newcomer meetings. And each Monday morning, we'll be sending out an email to everyone on the email list with the upcoming opportunities for engagement for the week. If you'd like to receive updates like this, please email office@uuithaca.org to be added to the announce list.
Our opening words this morning come from the Reverends John Burens and Rebecca Parker. Hope rises. It rises from the heart of life, here and now, beating with joy and sorrow. Hope longs. It longs for good to be affirmed, for justice and love to prevail, for suffering to be alleviated, and for life to flourish in peace. Hope remembers. It remembers the dreams of those who have gone before and reaches for connection with them across the boundary of death. Hope acts. It acts to bless, to protest, and to repair. May we rise this morning with hope in our hearts of a new way of living and loving, a new way of finding a way forward together. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Here you belong. The flaming chalice is the symbol of mystics and heretics, artists and activists, reformers and refugees, and Unitarian Universalists everywhere. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Let's sing together. Our opening hymn is number 367, Alleluia.
And we're going to sing this through 3 times.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
Sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Alleluia.
Sing and rejoice.
Hi friends! Today's Easter. This holiday has to do with our worship theme, wholeness. An egg can be a symbol of wholeness. The egg is one thing. And then we cook it and we crack it and it's something different. Each change makes it a different thing. We can't change it back into what it was, a raw egg, once we have cooked it and broken it. Wholeness isn't about taking broken pieces and putting them back together into what they were before. No, it's about taking the broken pieces and making something new, like egg salad. For Easter, the thing that was broken was Jesus. He was executed on a cross. Some people believe that Jesus came back to life or was resurrected. Others believe that he returned to this earth in a new form. And some don't know what to believe. It might be helpful to think about Jesus coming back into this world in our lives as the idea of love or kindness or tolerance. For nature, some things that break are the dying of plants and insects in the winter, and then the rebirth or coming back into something new, like a new plant or new leaves or new flowers, new insects. Even animal babies and human babies are new. Things change and they come out differently. The flowers grow in a different way. The leaves might look a little different. Even you have changed since the last time I saw you. Can you do a cartwheel now? Is your hair shorter or longer or a different color? Have you slowed down and started to focus on love or kindness or tolerance? I'm wondering how you're changing, and I can't wait to see you again and see all the new things you're doing and all the ways that you've changed. Happy Easter, everyone.
In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community. If you have a joy or sorrow that you would like to be shared, please send them to Reverend Margaret at minister@uuithaca.org by 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Bearing in mind that our service is live streamed, when you consider the private nature of these joys and sorrows. We want to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. Leah O'Connor would like to share that she would like to give a shout out to Linny Wieselquist, who was one of the 200 medical staff from CMC that went to New York City just the other day to help the exhausted medical staff in New York City. She's a hero in our midst. Thank you, Linny. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call those names out loud into this community, into this space of healing and hope right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, may our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Blessed be, and amen.
I invite you to join with me in some continued moments of prayer and reflection, holding in our hearts all those things that have been shared this morning, all that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. I offer these words a meditation written by my colleague, Reverend Jason Cook. He writes this: Easter is different this year, I heard someone say. Hard to find joy, they said. And I thought about it. What about the Easter where the Easter bunny had no money for chocolate? And Papa was gone and Mama did the best she could, but there were still no new Easter outfits, no fancy dress or fresh ironed pants. Just another day, maybe a little sadder than most because joy was hard to find on a day where it was supposed to readily blossom. That didn't happen to me, that particular Easter. There was always chocolate and an Easter basket, but I'm sure it or something like it happened to someone, many someones. I'm sure there were Easters much worse, Easters where people were hungry and hurt and ill and angry and sad. An Easter where joy is hard to find is not new. So maybe that's the lesson of Easter. Maybe that's the point of it. That joy is hard to find sometimes, even a lot of the time. And maybe that's our gift this morning. That we can't take it for granted, that by God we have to find, even create joy, because it's not necessarily easy to find. Maybe that's why kids hunt for Easter eggs in groups, laughing and running, because in the end, it's in the hunt for joy that we discover one another. So may it be. Amen. And blessed be.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you
week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. Today, we will be accepting your gifts in a variety of ways, via text, on our website, or placing payment in the mail. We are committed to being the church in this crisis, and we need your support. This includes full payment to all staff, including paid sick leave for those who cannot do the work from home. May these gifts support connection, inspiration, and engagement for this congregation and the ways it ministers to the world. This morning's offering will now be gratefully given and received.
Our reading this morning is by Reverend Mark Bellatini. It's titled Exultet for Easter. The Exultet or Easter proclamation is the hymn of praise sung during the Easter Mass. He writes this: I could say they are beautiful, those stars hemming the blue veil of morning. I could say it gives me pleasure, that bronze and perfect Passover moon. Or I could say they make me glad, those laughing daffodils along the lane. Or I could just as well say they are lit from within, divine, overflowing with what some long to call revelation, or even the growing vision of God. But today, on Easter, I don't care which words I use to express my wonder. I'm just glad to be alive, blessed with such marvels. I could say that the earth, hanging in space, is an accident in the universe that just happened. Or I could say that it's one more miracle in a cosmos full of miracles, one overflowing with divinity. But today, on Easter, for all of my education and life experience, I cannot tell which word is which. Accident, miracle. They seem to see each other's face in the mirror of my heart. And so I rise in gladness again and sing the marvel that everything is. When some argue for heaven and others argue for earth, for the life of me, I cannot comprehend the seriousness of the debate. After all, the heaven I see daily overhead never argues with me. It just tumbles clouds through my eyes and yours and paints the horizons pink and orange come evening or come morning. And the earth I walk never argues with me either. It mostly just explodes with buds and petals like some out of control fountain. Heaven and earth remain silent even when people malign and the ancient proclamation comes from their lips, oh God, by fusing it with violence and entitlement. But now on this Easter day, everything grows beyond words, beyond heaven and earth, into a necessary vision of harmony and peace for all humankind who rise into life that is alive. I have been taking a daily walk on most days since being home for the past 6 weeks, like many of you have been doing. And there's this green plant that's growing in the ditch along the side of the road where I walk. When we first started our daily walks, we were bundled in jackets and hats, There was no green anywhere, certainly not in the ditch. It was frosty and dingy and gray and brown. And then gradually, as the days went on and the walks continued, this green began to poke through the soil, and now the sprouts are about 5 or 6 inches tall. They're this bright spring green, the one that kids use to draw grass in pictures with crayons, the little sprouts with the sort of V shape to them. I have no idea what they're called. They're probably a weed, actually. And to tell you the truth, I have no desire to know what they're called. Because for me, these green sprouts have become an illustration of growth and resilience and persistence that can happen over time, one that doesn't need to be named. And the earth I walk never argues with me either, Reverend Bellatini writes. It mostly just explodes with buds and petals like some out of control fountain. Heaven and earth remain silent even when people malign the ancient exclamation, "Oh God," by fusing it with violence and entitlement. But now, he writes, on this Easter day, everything grows beyond words, beyond heaven and earth, into a necessary vision of harmony and peace for all humankind who rise into life that is alive. What does that look like? To rise into life that is alive. I think we might be having an opportunity that we are living right now to reflect on this idea of living a life that is alive. I wonder if, like me, you've found new miracles and wonders during this time. I wonder if you've found that it feels different these days to rise into a life that is alive. Perhaps you've noticed this in the rebirth and waking up of the natural world. Perhaps today, like me, you've realized that you've learned new things. That, for instance, on the shores of India, the annual occurrence of sea turtles laying their eggs in the rocky sand has happened, even amidst all of this. Only this year, because Indians are ordered to stay at home, the beaches are completely empty of humans. So this year, this endangered species of sea turtles have gathered on the beach, all 70,000 of them, to lay their eggs. This year is different. This year, new life may spring forth in ways it has never done before. Perhaps in this time, you have found new life for yourself. Perhaps you've realized that you not only love your family, but actually like them. Perhaps you've affirmed that you don't mind spending time by yourself. Perhaps you've found a rebirth of your passion for cooking, for connecting with friends, for long walks, for reading. We are living in a particularly strange time. Indeed, as mentioned in our prayer this morning, this Easter feels different. We find ourselves amidst the Passover celebration, the Easter celebration, the bursting forth of springtime with its bright flowers and buds on the trees. The birdsong has returned. The peepers are out. The weeds and the flowers are pushing their way through the muck to the sunshine, to the fresh air. The days are longer and brighter. Thank goodness for that. And we find ourselves in a moment where we are holding the heaviness of this pandemic along with the incredible resilience and persistence of the human spirit to proclaim over and over again that love will prevail. This is the message of the Easter story. It doesn't matter whether you believe in the resurrection or not. It doesn't matter if you want to argue about the historical accuracy. What matters is the message. The message, the overwhelming message of the Easter story is that love and relationship cannot be silenced, ever, not even by death. In an Easter sermon 5 years ago, our UUA president, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, said this: "The meaning, the truth of this story is not to be found looking at the story as a historical retelling of facts. Its power is in the message that hope and love and the teaching of truth cannot be killed nor silenced, not even by death. Even death cannot silence love. Who we are, what we teach, what we give, these live on in the lives of those we have loved. And what is true lives in the hearts of people, no matter how many attempts are made to put out its light. And hope can be reborn in us, even when we feel it is lost. Hope can be reborn in us, even when we feel it is lost. Hope can be reborn. As we're reminded in our opening words this morning, hope rises, hope longs, hope remembers, hope acts. It acts to bless, to protest, and repair. In this moment where we find ourselves, on this Easter that feels different for a myriad of reasons, today, on this new day of possibility and of rebirth, may you hold yourself above the muck that threatens to pull you down. May you long for the days when we can hold one another again. May you remember the strength and resilience that burst forth from your soul, and may you act to bless and to repair the separateness, to repair the places of silence, to repair this world that needs that reminder of love overcoming death and destruction time and time again. On that same day that Reverend Susan Frederick Gray preached the words I shared with you, the poet David Whyte awoke in Ireland and wrote a poem for his dearly departed friend and fellow philosopher, John O'Donohue. I'd like to share those words with you this morning. Easter morning, 2015, in memoriam of John O'Donohue. The blessing of the morning light to you. The blessing of the morning light to you. May it find you even in your invisible appearances. May you be seen to have arisen from some other place you know and have known in the darkness, and that carries all you need. May you see what is hidden in you as a place of hospitality and shadowed shelter. May that hidden darkness be your gift to give. May you hold that shadow to the light, and the silence of that shelter to the world of the light. May you join all of your previous disappearances with this new appearance, this new morning, this being seen again, new now, and newly alive. The blessing of the morning light to you. So may it be for all of us on this Easter morning. Amen, and blessed be.
Rita? Lo, the earth awakes again. Alleluia. From the winter's bond and pain.
I hope that you will join us after our service for our virtual Zoom coffee hour. The information will be posted at the end of this service, and you can also find it on our website. On this Easter morning, that is both different and beautiful just the same, may we go forth with the energy of hope rising amidst it all. We extinguish this chalice, but not the hope, love, and courage that it represents. We carry our love and our hope out into this beautiful and broken world. Our service has ended. Let our true service now begin. Happy Easter. Go in peace.